Good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital Nightly Strategy Podcast for December 13th, 2022. Start with the sniper trade of the day. This was a target that closed way down below yesterday, gapped up to here, had an OR3 here, closed that first bar here, opened, and then broke down below the lower limit of the OR3, which triggers an automatic short with a standard risk box in play here. Check or hold. It went in our direction and then reversed. I exited for a scratch that was sloppy. I should have had a no lose plus dinner for two, so not a very good exit. It moved an MMRB off of there, and I elected to go long with the same risk box now, same size risk box. That one also petered out pretty quickly. So we're at 2 for 2 scratches so far. I let it settle. Saw the R10 crossover the baby dragon. The RL10 comes through the dragon. There's a PSAR flip. I take the standard short, standard risk box once more. Check or hold. After 3 bars, actually 4 bars, I should say, that has moved in our favor. And our screen has locked. All right, we're going to try that again. Sound check. Are we back? Okay. So after the gap up, it looks like it crashed. So I'm not sure how much of the recording, so I'm going to try it from the top. There was a gap up opening. It sold off through the OR3. We got short and scratched. We reversed after an MMRB long and scratched. The R10 rolled over, came down through the dragon, hit the PSAR flip, standard MMRB entry. And after about 4 bars in hand, we have a nice move in our favor. So our stop should be moved down. I like to place it either here, right at like the 2-bar high, or I don't mind if you take half that gift bar. So either one of those two, either at 1 or 2, with price here, I think is a legitimate stop. So we're at scratch on the first 2 positions. On the MMRB, we're about 2R in hand right at this point. So I don't mind locking in either 1 or 2. You make your choice. As this continues down, there was a pause with rising lows, but it never could make a new high. And then when that collapsed down to a new low of the day, and more than 2 are in hand with momentum, just starting up some more, and it's on its way down to close the gap. I add my second position here. Check or hold. This was a reasonable place to take an exit after that next nice leg down and the flipping of the RL10 and this penetrating bar coming back up into the dragon. I wouldn't be offended if you took that exit there. Wouldn't have been offended if you had taken it at the edge of the dragon. At a minimum, your stop has to be at least at the top of the dragon so that you can lock in this positive gain on your second position. Like, you can't afford to have your stop at the PSAR dot after having been this far in the positive. All right, so again, to review, reasonable places to have placed your stop were at the edge of the dragon, spine, top of the dragon, or scratch, at worst scratching that second position, but I don't like that. I would prefer either 1, 2, or 3. I think 4 with a scratch would be disappointing, and 5, you would have let a 1R position turn into a loss. So 1 or 2 I think would have been preferred. I was staying with the track in the PSAR. It actually has like a double bottom, almost a Kata 2 kind of a flavor. When that rolls up into the dragon, I take the exit in here. And now I'm prepared to take the SSC entry after this nice harsh winter move. RL10 rolls over, PSAR flips, standard wrist box, checker hold. That one's a fractional loss. I stop and reverse because of the size of that first move and this one's absolute failure to follow through. This now feels like a Kata 2 entry. So we take a standard wrist box and we play it short. By this period, your stop should be right about here so that you've locked in a bit of a gain. You want to have locked in that little wedge right there. That's the no lose plus dinner for 2. And that's basically the exit you get, whether you got it immediately here or here. Again, I think I was a little sloppy on this one. I think I should have taken that exit. Now with all the indecision that I've seen here, I'm not ready to take an immediate flip because this has now just gotten into a sideways quiet channel. So I want to let the patterns emerge before I get back into this. I now noticed that we've got a solid support being placed in here. And now after this, what turned out to be a Z3P, the Z3 lines on the normal chart would have compressed. I take the breakout. It was after this spike up and spike down, so it felt like there was some buying pressure in here, and I felt like buying the breakout from the PSAR dot with a standard wrist box was actually pretty favorable. So we're playing on the long side now. That one fails pretty quickly also, but we are able to lock in. That little wedge right there for about a 0.2 or a 0.3. And I think that was it for the day. There just wasn't much more follow through at all. And so this was our total for the day on CLF. Was after that initial big gap up and then the fade, it just kind of ground to a halt. There just wasn't much trading action. So those two scratched. This fractional loss and that fractional gain tend to even out, and then this is a scratch. So what we netted for the day was basically this one trade that had a payoff. And on 1 unit of reward, it gave us 1, 2, 3, 4. And on this position, 5, 6. So about 6R for the day, plus 5 other trades that just didn't really go anywhere. So they all look the same leaving the station, and you never know which one's going to be the one. That's today's lesson. Take a look at the 30-minute charts. This was really a roller coaster today. We've had on the 30-minute charts for the last 10 days, we've had this nice orderly move to here, and it felt like there was some upward pressure. But today, the market gapped way up to the previous 10-day high and then collapsed completely and then closed just above 40, right around 402. So it nets out to be a nice move for the day, but the price action intraday does not fill one with confidence, although it closed higher. So this was really a hard day to interpret, and it's hard to make sense of it other than to say tomorrow should be another wild ride. And this is characteristic of sideways markets that lack clear direction. You can see it even easier on the daily chart. So this is our 5-day, 10-day, 30-day look back. There's our 30-day low, 30-day high, 10-day low, 10-day high was made at the open today. And that nice big gap up, it could not hold and then closed right around 401.5. So this was enough to get the RL10 to start curling up. So we'll see if that upward buying pressure is enough to keep that momentum going, or if this is going to continue to fail. And like we said yesterday, the belly of the RL10 and certainly the 10-day low, that's got to be the support level that holds, because if this breaks, then this is not support at all until we get down here to all the way back to 376. So I'm going to be very careful not to. I will be respecting that support level on the daily. All right, let's take a look at what the traders did today. Oops, let me get the traders up here. Agnieszka had an excellent day today with almost 5R in the Canadian-Japanese pair on the 5s. There's that tight Z3 pinch, a super pinch, essentially. The breakdown with her standard wrist box to the top of the PSAR and the VWAP, and she nails that first position for 5. On this little rebound, to cash 5 is excellent. When that rolls over and fails immediately, I like to get at below that the bar where you exited. This would get you in at the low of that bar rather than here, and that lets you make a little more bank. And then instead of scratching, you might have picked up an extra R. I like that you had the patience to see the rising lows, to wait for the dragon to turn and the PSAR to flip. It didn't follow through, so I like this lack of follow through here, in either as a rebound or a continuation. I think you got what was available and brought home 4.7. That's a pretty good day at the office. Nicely done. Here's Tim. And he's trading Tesla on the threes here. He gets the OR3 breakdown, gets paid. On this one, he waits for the price to roll over at a lower high. This is where it leaves the dragon and PSAR flip. So I like the patience on it. When the belly of the previous consolidation area breaks, and with it looks like a couple R in hand, he gets the second position in. It moved in his favor, started to retrace, and that was enough to lock in 2.6 on a winning position. On the break, when this rolls over and breaks down, I like this one. He decided to scratch here on this break. When it resumes, you might have gotten that one again, but I also respect that you don't want to be chasing all day. That one would have happened to have paid off. This one, he notices a lower high once more. He waits for the break of the RL10. It doesn't really go in his favor, so he quick micro loss on that one. He waits for the PSAR flip, micro loss on that one. I think that's a pretty good day at work in Tesla. That felt pretty patient and relaxed all the way through. All right, here's Nolan on Tesla. I like the short on the PSAR break. This gets paid on when that breaks down again. I think you could have gotten short and paid inside here. This one looks premature to me. It's a kind of a 1, 2, 3, but you know that is really an aggressive effort to get back to the PSAR and the VWAP. That's a 1, 2, 3. I think it's premature. But you did at least get the stop and reverse and get paid for another couple R, and another couple R. This one was still available. I don't think you were in the market for that one yet, but still, I'm not offended by the 1, 2, 3 as long as you are willing to cut it quickly and then get back on board the original move. You know, this move is so strong that if it's an overreaction, that 1, 2, 3 gets you back into a replay first to the VWAP and then to test the high. So you risk a small amount and you made 3 times of the amount when you stopped in reverse. That's the winning proposition right there. So that was good. So this is NVIDIA. This gets paid quick. This is the area for the short, as you notice, or at the PSAR flip right here. This left about an R on the table, and there just wasn't much left. And then it was really out of steam all the way here through the lunch hour. It wasn't until the PSAR flip that had the next run. That's NVIDIA. In Microsoft, quick scratch. This was the same pattern as before. I think when it comes through the dragon crosses the VWAP, you can get that right away. If you were ever going to front run, that would be the place. Good patience. However, on this PSAR, like if you take a PSAR flip, if you take that, it scratches. And then if you take the same one short, then that stumbles you into. And if you'll notice, you can't tell the difference between those two patterns except in retrospect. So my tendency is take them both and then quickly cut them if they're not working. And what that would have let you do is get this trade. Doesn't really work, so you scratch here. And then on the PSAR flip, you're short here, and then you say, wonderful. And then when that shelf breaks, you might have gotten a second position and really turned this one into a powerful move. So they all look the same leaving the station. Here was another effort. I think this is Satya on FSLR, First Solar. Here's an OR5. He basically takes that with an MMRB. Gets paid, is very patient. he sees the first PSAR break, it then hits the dragon and starts to roll over. So he gets short on that resumption, and then when it doesn't really go in large, quick scratch. I might have tried this one because you got a PSAR after a really strong move and then a failed short. That actually makes that a strong move. I do love the PSAR flip. I like the second position or the re-entry to get paid. I think if you get, you know, that short gets paid. This one was a quick scratch. If you stay with the PSAR and respect it, you don't get out of it till about here. Got paid, got paid. That's pretty good work. Next one up is, let's see, Kyun in, this is U.S. Steel. Here's the big gap up. That's kind of his OR3. He notices the rollover PSAR flip. Second position, it rebounded, so he gets out of all of it for 2.5. Re-enters the short, cuts it quick when it doesn't work. I still think that's okay. I might have tried this PSAR flip, probably would have scratched. When this breaks down a second time, I like that short. I like all of those. When they don't work right away, you still are able to pull out of the with a 1.7. So I think that's pretty good. You're getting some stick time and building your reps. This is Tesla for 3.6. So Tesla paid off today. Quickly gets paid, gets paid, gets paid. So these are micro steps, but they're all paying off. If you just stay with that same routine and the rejection of the PSAR, yep, that pays another one. And then finally, here is your SSC halfway through the day. Yep, this was the mover. I don't necessarily think you're jumping the gun. I think it's, you're getting some practice time in there. That's pretty good work. Quickly to the reports. Dashboard number 1. We're in sideways normal, so there's no long-term payoff to holding overnight, but this is an improvement over the bear. We've slowly gained some health here in the mid-range. Today's gap up shows that there is some longer-term money willing to buy at the open, and that sort of accounts for the big gap up. It didn't hold, but at the same time, it did net for a slightly higher move. So I'm cautiously optimistic for tomorrow and the upside. Risk Z is still showing risk on, favorable to the long side. The staples in the world and healthcare are still kind of working with Merck, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, and then Coca-Cola and Caterpillar. Tesla just getting murdered, still the most important stock in the world. Alcoa, Intel, Disney also are framed to be big movers as well. There were some big breakouts today. These were stocks that actually were able to hold on to that big gap up, and that's Home Depot and IBM, and then here Microsoft, Nike, and Pfizer all had big days. Tesla continuing to just get murdered. I mean, long term, I wouldn't bet against him, but he's going through some interesting challenges now. I think it's really not about the money in Twitter. He really is fighting on principle. Much respect. Mexico and Brazil, big breakdowns. I'd look for more weakness there. Weakness here in Latin America, not a surprise. But on the other hand, strength in silver, strength in gold, and strength in utility. So this was certainly the defensive plays of the day. Boy, this is really a mixed bag for tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be an intraday trader's day. Standard auto framers and squeezes. Let's go look for the sniper setups here real quick. MTB gave us the beginning of a Godzilla breakout. No Godzillas in the tactical symbol set. Some extraordinary moves today in the one-day movers. These are almost 50 that were 2 sigma were better. A significant number that were better than 3 sigma and 4 sigma moves. Oracle is very interesting. United Airlines, very interesting for that reason. mRNA was a double green volatility, as was JB Hunt and Trans. So that's of interest. This one down here in the quiet section, Starbucks, very, very quiet on the 5-day, but large one-day move. The only one of the quiet ones that had a big day move. So that could be the beginning of, waking up and starting to run. So let's keep an eye on Starbucks. Intraday opportunity. Sniper stats for the sectors, and sniper stats for the tactical symbol set. I'm really interested in the ones, as you know, that are double green. Brazil, marijuana, of a lot of interest to me. And I just think this is an indicator here too. XLK, S&P Tech, and Microsoft, big moves today. Tesla with another big move, 3 sigma. That's the stock of the week. The stock of the moment. A tale of 2 markets today, the haves and the have-nots. So Tesla getting slaughtered, but a handful down here, the old reliables. Microsoft, Pfizer, IBM, all looking pretty good on the short term. And then weakness up in here, Latin America, Brazil, and Mexico, weakness, and strength down here in the defensive plays. I still like healthcare. And I'm liking tech, believe it or not. I think that's a strong move in S&P Tech. So be ready for that tomorrow. Watch Microsoft, I think, is on my short list for being a hero of the revolution tomorrow. It had a big 2-day move, 152 on the 2-day index. All right, that's everything we got for today. Let's get this published and posted. Thanks for your patience.